welcome back to our very messy garage. We are working on a pallet stove topper for my aunt. We made one of these for ourselves, and she liked it so much that she wanted me to make her one because she has some like discoloration and some scratches and gouges and stuff on her electric stovetop. So luckily hers is much easier than ours. Ours, we have a gas stove, so we had to allow clearance for the grates. Hers is an electric stove, so it'll just sit right on top of there. So we just have these pallets. I got these at a garage sale like a year ago, and I just started using them. So they've been sitting in this messy garage this entire time. But my husband just cut the pallet for me, and then he planed the sides so that they were nice and even. And then I just went over it with a sander with the 60 grit and just tried to kind of smooth it out. I noticed when we made ours that this pallet wood soaks up the stain. So she wants hers white, so I'm going to paint it. I'm not going to do stain like we did on ours. And I will insert a clip somewhere in this video of what ours looks like, or you can go to our Instagram and see that there. But I noticed that this wood just soaked up the stain. Even after I did 2 coats of stain and 2 coats of polycrylic, it was still soaking up the polycrylic. So my plan is, per suggestion of my husband, is to put some polycrylic on this first to give kind of a base layer and then do my paint. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to slap some polycrylic probably on the top slats and then like the sides. I'm not going to worry too much about the bottom. I'll probably just throw some paint on there. But I'm going to prep this so then when it dries, we can start painting. So my coat of polycrylic is dry on the front, but I'm gonna start, or I guess on the top I should say, I'm gonna start on the bottom because that's the part I care about the least, and I kind of want to get my technique and everything covered and kind of get the bottom covered and out of the way so I can focus a lot more on the top, making it look perfect. So I am going to be using Folk Art. This is in white Adirondack. I like the Waverly chalk paint better, but they did not have it when I was at Walmart, so I got this from, this one's from Micheals, and I got a new bottle from Joann's, about the same price. And then I have this chalk paint brush from Walmart. It's a little worn out, but to be quite fair, it wasn't great when I bought it the first time I used it. So if you have any recommendations for a good chalk paint brush, please let me know in the comments. One that's not too expensive. I mean, I've seen some for like 17 or 18 bucks, and like that kind of price, like the way my wallet is set up, that kind of price is a little bit too much for me. So if there's one that's kind of in that middle range that's not crazy expensive, please let me know what chalk paint brushes you guys like that aren't insane and are not going to break the bank. So I'm back with an update on the oven cover that I'm making for my aunt. I did almost 3 coats on the top here, 2 coats with the chalk brush, and then I was just noticing that in like kind of like the lattice work and stuff, I guess that's not what it's called, but you know what I mean. The brush wasn't really getting deep in there, so I just took like a more detailed brush, a smaller brush, and just tried to get in there. So once this dries, I'm just gonna do like a light sand. I do have some bleed through happening here. I don't know if you can tell. I think it's the rust maybe from the nails when I went over it and kind of spread it out in the paint accidentally. So hopefully it dries and you can't see that color. I don't know if you can tell. You probably can't, but there's a little bit of bleed through there. So hopefully it doesn't come through too much, but after it dries, I'm just going to give it a light sand, probably with some 400 grit, just to kind of smooth out some of my brush marks. And then my husband, he is going to make some handles for it out of some wood with his router and some of his tools. So I think it's going to look really good. So for some reason, painting the pallet wood is proving to be way more difficult than staining ours. So I'm hoping that this is going to be the final step before another coat of polycrylic. This is now the next day. So I put the polycrylic on and then I had that bleed through. So I tried to just touch up those bleed through areas, and there was bleed through coming in more than just that spot. So what I decided to do was take a foam brush instead of the chalk paint brush, and I decided to just go over all of the slats again with a nice thick coat of that folk art chalk paint in white Adirondack. So I'm hoping when this dries, when I do another layer of polycrylic, I won't have any more bleed through. So that's kind of my plan, is to do one more layer of polycrylic. And then I'm going to put Season Everything with Love on it. She really, really liked that when I showed her the picture of ours. So we're going to do hers, and I'm probably going to do black vinyl or something. And I will show a little clip of me working with my Cricut design space as well. Welcome to my very old laptop with tape on it. This is what I'm working with, guys. So I'm in my Cricut design space, and I'm going to start working on the decal for the pallet oven cover. So one thing I really like to do, and I cannot remember what YouTube video I saw this on, but it was one of those like 15 Cricut tips or something like that, is to make a box the size that you know that you're going to need for your project. So whatever text or images you put in, you know it's going to fit in that box, so you know it's going to fit on your project. So basically, I just went over here to shapes. I created a square, and then you just click the little unlock button. Sorry, it's not wanting to focus. You click the unlock button, and then I just made the height 2.5 because that's the amount of space I know. I'm going to zoom you out because it is not wanting to focus. I know that's the height that I have. That's like the height of the pieces of pallet, the pallet strips. So I can't go above that or my text will, not fit. So I am just going to work on this and just show you a short clip because I'm holding you with my left hand in my phone and trying to work with my right hand. So I'll just show you me doing season, and you can listen to some tunes while I work on this. Welcome to my floor. So I really hope she loves this project because this is proving to be way more time consuming and difficult than I thought. And I guess it's just because we stained ours, so the wood soaked in the stain. But I am just getting a crazy amount of bleed through, and it's happening mostly kind of in there. But it's almost like yellowing, so I don't know if it's the polycrylic or if it's the wood bleeding through. I'm assuming it's the wood. So maybe I should have done 2 coats of polycrylic before I started painting instead of just 1, and that would have helped me out a little bit more, or maybe even 3 coats. But this is proving to be a real project.
Hello. All right. I am making the handles for Linnea's oven tray. What do you call that?
I think I called it an oven cover for my aunt's oven cover.
Stove cover.
Stove cover.
Stove cover.
Oven stove.
All right.
Tomato.
Yeah. Just for anyone who doesn't know, the oven is the lower part, the stove is the top.
This is my daily life. Okay, so what are you doing with this piece of wood?
So I'm cutting this wood into strips. I'm going to take basically 2 this wide. I have set my fence to the width that I want the handles to be. So I'm going to glue these together. And then I'm going to use probably 2 more pieces as the posts into the stove tray. Or stove cover. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why you're wearing animal print sunglasses, please?
I don't have any goggles.
So, Christmas
Very
gift.
crude setup right now. I'm still working.
Get goggles for Christmas. Got it. Santa's bringing goggles.
Last time it was this.
Oh, well, I was trying to stabilize.
All right. So these are my 2 handle pieces. I'm going to cut about 4 each little squares to put under here as the posts. And then I'll glue them together. All right. I'm going to glue these pieces together. And then I'm going to attach them to one of these. If I made too many, it turns out to be too thick. So I'm just using 1 per my wife's request. First on the sandpaper that I had tacked down, and then rounded them out and everything on there as well, and then went over it with some 220 grit. And Lene here is going to paint them, but here's what they look like.
Beautiful.
Nice and rounded.
Thanks,
so
babe.
When you hold them, they're comfortable, no sharp edges.
Thanks, babe.
The holes through the top so I could figure out exactly where I wanted them to be by measuring the middle of these to where I wanted them to go. So I drilled all the way through, and then I put a pocket hole in, probably about that deep on both sides, so the screw can go inside.
Sorry.
And reach through the top here. Because the screws are only 2.5 inches. This is more than 2.5 inches. So we need that to go through. And then all I did was, once they came, I had these screws out, lined this up, pressed it down, drilled holes, pilot holes for those to go into. And now I just have to